Okay, class, thank you for joining me. This is summer 2015, MAT0018, Developmental Math 1. It is going to be a speedy 6 weeks, and we're going to get on through these chapters as quickly as possible. I hope that some of you, if you haven't already, would consider registering for the H2 MAT0028 with Mrs. Vicki Barnett. That way you can knock out both of these classes right in the summer, both online. You pretty much really just have to go to the campus or any Valencia campus just to take your final exam and midterm, and that's it. Everything else is done online. You have to be a good starter. You have to have initiative. You have to have good time management. Online classes are not for everyone, especially a 6-week one. And it's math, so there's a couple things you want to make sure you're taking into consideration before you decide to stay in the course. I'm going to start with the first few announcements that I posted already. As you can see, obviously this announcement was about the session today, which obviously many of you were able to join, and about half of the class registered, even though only about 5 of you are here right now, but that's okay. That's pretty good. The second announcement was 2 pretty important documents. We're going to go over those thoroughly and some tips for success. So let's start with just our welcome email. Let's start with that because it's more than just an email. It really is kind of like your syllabi. It really does have the most important information that you need. And like I said, as I'm talking through it and you guys have questions, just go ahead and type them in. I can definitely answer your questions and keep going at the same time, okay? All right. So in this email, obviously, my name is Professor Washington, and it is the summer course. Everything that you need is in Blackboard, except for the textbook, which you can buy in the bookstore for about $30. I do not give assignments out of the book, but it is a good resource. It's a good place to take notes while you're watching some videos. It's a good place to look at examples if you're still struggling with concepts. And of course, there's extra practice problems and answer keys in that book as well. And there's also something called the MAT0018 portfolio. You can use that one, or you can buy your own binder and create your own tabs. That is completely up to you. I don't really have a preference. My only preference is that you stay organized, okay? And I'm flexible with what that means, but I'm not flexible with what organized looks like. I know what organized looks like. So if you decide to do a 3-subject notebook versus a binder, that's fine. But a folder with a whole bunch of loose paper sticking out everywhere is not okay. All right. So that's one thing you want to make sure you're taking an online class. You have to keep track of what you're doing. You have to write down the problems, do as much work as you can. If you get stuck, that's how you're going to be able to answer questions either to myself or to a tutor. Okay. So no scrap paper. That's not what we're using. We're keeping neat work. Okay. When you log into Blackboard, well, let's talk about how you log into Blackboard, which many of you obviously have. The way that I normally go is to valenciacollege.edu, and at the very top of the screen, there's a white box that says Quick Links. When you click on that, you get a bunch of choices, and at the very, very bottom, it says Online Courses. That's the way I prefer, because when you log in through Atlas and then go to Blackboard, every time you sit there for too long, Atlas is going to keep trying to log you out. It's going to say, oh, it's been more than 10 minutes, you know, those kinds of things. So I just go straight to Blackboard and I avoid the Atlas altogether. Okay. All right. So the most important part, let's minimize this a little bit so that maybe we can see the whole thing on one screen. The grades is probably, understanding how you are graded is probably the most important part about being in any online class, not just a math class. Okay. So we have 20% of your grade we're going to call class engagement. Okay, this includes any discussion topics, any assignments where you are asked to show your work. There's a time management project, a home improvement project, and a study guide, as well as a math in 4 pictures. These are not difficult assignments. It just takes, it's going to be on you to leave yourself time to complete them. I can promise you if you try to complete them the day they are due, you're either not going to do it correctly or you're not going to submit it on time, both of which is going to end up with a deduction in points. And these assignments should be easy A's, okay? And we'll talk about the specifics of each one as they come, all right? We also have what we call your lab, which is 20% of your grade, and those assignments are called competency checks. Think of competency checks as a fancy way to say quizzes, okay? On the other hand, they're not like quizzes because you can take them as many times as you want until you get the score that you're looking for, and I will point out the first two competency checks for you. Your midterm is 10% of your grade, and your midterm must be taken in a Valencia testing center. I can't tell you guys how many times students come to me and say, oh, I didn't know I had to go to campus to take the test. What's the password? I will not give you the password. You will not take the midterm at home. You will take it on campus. Otherwise, you'll just go ahead and get a 0. Again, time management. I usually give you about 10 days or a week to 10 days to complete it. Schedule yourself time to go. Don't wait till the last minute. I see it happen to students all the time. They wait until the last day and they get there to the testing center 40 minutes before it closes, and then they don't have enough time to finish their test and the testing center is closing. They're not going to stay open late just because you decided to come 40 minutes before they closed. Time management. I can't emphasize that enough. 20% of your grade will be homework. This is going to feel a lot like the competency checks, except there's going to be a set of homework questions for each section in your book. The review for your midterm and a final exam. So besides these are your two big tests, your midterm and your final. Both of those tests also have a review, which basically means I'm giving you a practice version that is just like the real thing, and those practice versions are 5% of your grade. You can also take those practice versions as many times as you want to get the grade you're looking for. Again, no reason for you not to do well. It comes down to time management, because if you wait till the last minute, you won't be able to take it a bunch of times. And last but not least, your final exam is 25% of your grade. This is college-wide. Anybody enrolled in this course, the final exam is worth 25% of your grade. The final exam is 40 questions total. It is not multiple choice. It is, you will have to type in your answers numerically and so on. And basically your goal is to do well enough on the final exam that your overall class average remains a C or higher. That is all you need to pass the course. Now, a lot of times I have students misunderstand their grades, because I do try and give students a chance to finish incomplete grades. Sometimes I will leave them with a little dash in the grade book. And basically what that dash means is I have not given you a 0 yet, and this grade is not counting against you yet. So I get students that have a few assignments that they did really well, so their grade looks like an A or a B, but they have a lot of dashes, meaning they have a lot of missing assignments. As soon as I start typing in zeros for anything missing that they just didn't bother to do, all of a sudden that A or B goes down to a D or F, and then they're emailing me saying, I thought I had an A in your class, all of a sudden I have an F. Well, that's because they were not taking in consideration all the assignments they did not complete. So again, make sure you're completing all your assignments, okay? Do you guys have any questions so far based on this? Obviously, I'm going to point out where all of these things are, but this is the basis of your grades. So you guys have any questions about that? If you do, now's the time, or you can ask me later. Okay, everybody's saying they're all good. That's great. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move on then. Okay, so all of your assignments have due dates set for Friday at midnight, which is technically 11:59 p.m., except for Learning Module 0, which is due this Wednesday. So not tomorrow, but the next day. And these are not math assignments. It's really just you proving to me that you know how to navigate the course. So this isn't something that should take you long, and it shouldn't be difficult. Put this on your calendar. The last day to take your final exam is Monday, June 22nd. Please note that the H2 course for MAT0028 starts on June 23rd. So if you're trying to take the next class, even if you're not, June 22nd is the last day. You will not be able to access Blackboard on the 23rd. Okay? So you want to make sure, again, you have planned time to go take your test in the testing center. Okay, so your learning module 0. This is your first learning module that we're going to do. And it has the 3 most important assignments that you need to complete by Wednesday. And these are the assignments that you're going to complete in order to stay enrolled in the course. Okay, your video introduction, which I'm going to post mine sometime tomorrow. Your practice iMath-AS assignment, and your Syllabi quiz. Okay, and again, I'm going to point out where those assignments actually are in just a second. Again, I'll keep emphasizing they're due on the 13th, no later than that. This happens all the time. Somebody emails me on Friday saying they didn't know the assignments were due. Well, when you're in an online class, you should be logging in the first day of the semester. If you are not logging into your online class the first day of the semester, you do not belong in an online class. Okay? And just like you guys are great. You're on it, so I'm not worried about you guys. These are just some things you want to make sure you do for especially if you're working at home a lot. I will tell you that the depot on the Osceola campus, their computers are all set up for iMath-AS, so you shouldn't have any problems there. But if you are using your own personal computer or laptop, there are a couple technical things you want to make sure you do properly. For instance, you want to run a browser check for Blackboard. I'll show you where that is. And we're also going to log into iMath-AS. So now let's actually go to the course so that I can show you where some of these things are. You guys obviously found the first study session, so I don't need to look at that. This is all about the depot, contact information. You guys know all about that. So let's go to Learning Module 0. I will show you where to submit that quiz, okay? So we're going to go here on the left-hand side where it says Learning Module 0, start here. And objectives, you guys don't really care about this. This is teacher lingo, but you can read it, obviously. These are just reminders of things you want to keep in mind, okay? This is your welcome syllabi that we just read and your due dates. I didn't open this yet, but I will. So let's go to your practice assignment. This link right here, this rainbow link, when you click on it, now my screen shows a preview assessment. Yours is going to look a little bit different. You should get an option that actually says like some bubble choices, and it'll say, what does it say? It's about the 3rd button down, and it says, I'm having like a brain thing right now. What does it say? Forced image-based display. That's what it says. Forced image-based display. I find that iMath-AS, this little rainbow button thing that I clicked on here, I'm going to show you again. I find that these links with the rainbow run better in Google Chrome. I find that sometimes Internet Explorer and Firefox, the math problems don't show up properly. So you can try it with Internet Explorer and Firefox, and if you are seeing the math problems okay, then keep going. But if you're clicking on this and you don't see anything, it's blank, or you go here, you notice you see like a fraction. If you can't see those images, then you definitely want to go for Google Chrome. So actually right now I'm in Internet Explorer and it's showing up fine, but you can see I have Google Chrome open in the background because sometimes the images just don't show up properly. So okay, so here's your first practice assignment. Notice there are only 9 questions. And again, this isn't about doing math. This is about you understanding how to type in your math homework, okay? Because this system is your math homework. So it says to input a fraction like 1/6, you would type 1/6. Now you try. Write the fraction 1/2. Okay, so I'm going to write 1/2. I'm going to preview it because I want to make sure that it interpreted what I typed in correctly. And then I'm going to hit submit. So notice when I hit submit, it gives me a green bar and it says 1 out of 1. This is good news. This means I got it correct. And there's no need for me to reattempt the question. What you need to do is just go on to the second one. So here I'm going to actually get this one wrong intentionally so you guys can see what that looks like. It says to input a multiplication symbol like 5 times 2, you would type in 5 asterisk 2. So now you try. Do 2 times 14. Again, I'm going to do it incorrectly because I want you guys to see what it looks like. I'm going to hit submit. Notice over here, you see how it's halfway, it's green and white? That means you tried it, but you didn't get it right. So it still says 0 out of 1. Notice this is white with a little bit of red, 0 out of 1. So what you're going to want to do is reattempt it. You don't want to leave it like that. You want to get them all correct. So instead, I'm going to do 4 asterisk 17. Preview it. Submit. Very good. All green. So that's what you want to see as you're working through these problems. There's no point in you not reattempting it so that you can get full credit. Okay? Any questions so far? Okay. Am I talking too fast? I know we all have lives and kids and families and all that, so I want to make sure you get what you get what you need and go on with your bad self. All right. Okay. So I'm going to go back to Learning Module 0. You're welcome. So again, we're talking about 9 problems, right? We're not talking about taking over your life or anything like that. And it's all practice. It's not going to ask you to do something that you don't know how to do. It's all about typing in stuff. Okay. So I'm going to go back to Learning Module 0. I'm going to scroll back down. So that was the practice assignment. Next is the video introduction. So I know many of us, some of us do and some of us don't have the good old fancy smartphones, but I also know many of us have digital cameras that do record video. And so all I'm asking you guys to do is take a little risk and give me a little video. So let's see. I'm going to go to the initial post, which was basically the instructions. Okay. It says record and post 3 facts about yourself that the class might find interesting. Please comment in writing on at least 2 of your classmates. So again, I get a lot of students, they'll post their video and then they won't talk to anybody. You are not going to get full credit that way. There's no reason not to get full credit on this assignment. It's not hard. Okay. So not only do you have to post your own video, but you have to comment on at least 2 classmates' videos. Okay. Whether it's a, hey, we have something in common, or maybe you got a question you want to ask, or you just want to comment on something funny they said, whatever it is. You guys are each other's best support system, even though you can't see each other. Trust me. Okay. And like I said, I'll either post mine later tonight or sometime tomorrow so that you guys can see how I do it. And I just use my iPhone and I plug my phone in and I upload the file. Okay. Anybody not sure on how to post their video? I'll give you a little example. So what I'm going to do tomorrow is I'm going to actually hit reply right here. And it's going to give me some space. And I might type a little something, something here. Here you go, guys, right? And then I would browse my computer. And when I browse my computer, I'm going to actually find the video that I uploaded. I'm just going to pick anything for now. And I'm going to hit open. Okay? And once you do that, you're going to actually hit submit. When you hit submit, your file will upload. Now, I'm not actually attaching that because that's not my video. And I can see when I go back here, I can see that some of your classmates have started posting their videos. So obviously, after you post it, test it, make sure it works, because sometimes we put weird file formats. I'm going to actually probably post mine on YouTube and do it that way. Do not feel the need to use YouTube. Okay, you can keep it private. So please, I'm not going to watch any of the videos here, but I will be watching them tomorrow, starting tomorrow. Okay, so get your video up there as soon as possible so that your classmates can reply to you. All right, I'm going to go back to Learning Module 0. So we got 1 important assignment that we did already. We have the 2nd important assignment, and this is your 3rd important assignment. Now, this assignment is all about you showing When I ask you, show me your work for so-and-so assignment, how are you going to do it? I don't want you typing the math. I want to see your notebook, your handwriting, okay? So let's just say, let's just say I'm going to open a Word document, okay? And let me see if I can find my pen. Okay, I'm going to pretend that this is, homework section. I'm sorry, my marker's messing up, but you'll get the idea. 1.1, I'm going to write number 1. I'm going to write the problem. I'm going to show all my work, and I'm going to circle my answer, right? This is the kind of stuff you should be doing. Now, for the Syllabi quiz itself, again, don't type the answers. Grab a pencil and your notebook and actually write Syllabi quiz right at the top. I'm sorry, my pen's not working properly. Let me see if I can get it to work for me. And you'll start answering the questions, okay? Now, once you do that on your desk, on your notebook, you're going to take a picture of it using the Cam Scanner app, like I mentioned. Or if you have a scanner at home, you can scan it then, okay? And you're going to save it to your computer. So you got to answer these questions. Name one resource that you have for being successful in the course. How much is the final exam worth on your overall grade? What's the lowest grade you can have to pass the class? Where am I required to take the final? And true or false, this class ends Monday, June 22nd. You should know the answers to these if you've read the welcome email and the announcements, okay? Now, when you're ready to submit, what you're going to do is you're going to click directly on the link on the actual title of the assignment. You can see when it's due. You can see how much it's worth. It reminds you what the assignment is. And again, you'll browse your computer and you'll find the file. So you have to scan it or take a picture of it, email it to yourself, save it to your computer, scan it, save it to your computer. You should probably name it with your last name. I would put Washington Syllabi Quiz Online Math. And then you'll find it, you'll hit open, and again, you'll hit submit, okay? And that's how you upload it. Now again, I'm not going to submit because that wasn't the actual assignment. Any questions so far? Okay, so these 3 assignments are the 3 assignments that you have to have done by Wednesday. If you have not logged into Blackboard or you have not completed all 3 by Wednesday, I will withdraw you as a no-show and you will need to register for a different math class, okay? It has been proven to me over and over again that if you cannot complete these assignments, you do not usually end up passing the course, okay? Now, once you're done those, don't wait. Go ahead and get started on Chapter 1, okay? You can see Chapter 1. There are several videos in blue for each and every section, as well as some alternative videos in red. So if you didn't like those and you don't understand and you need more explanation, go ahead and look at the red ones. You guys can also use khanacademy.com if you guys have ever seen that website before. It's a pretty good website. All you do is search, actually khanacademy.org, you search by topic, and they have some pretty good, and you can sign in, teachers, start learning now. You sign in with it's free, you don't have to worry about any of that, and that's that. Or you can email me, I can make you a video, or sometimes when you email me questions, I will answer them during a session like this, and it's recorded and I'll post it to my YouTube. So you can see that there are several rainbow links for Chapter 1. These are all separate homework assignments. Okay, you can see 1A only has 6 problems. I can tell you that your Chapter 1 homework has a total of 57 problems in total. So basically, You don't want to go there. You want to make sure you go through these links, because these links make sure that your grades get recorded in your My Grades section, okay? That's why there's a different link for each of them, because there's a different grade. So all of these, 1A through 1G, there are 57 problems. That's really not a lot of problems. You're talking about maybe an hour and a half or less worth of work, okay? Same thing with Learning Module 2. There are also about 56 homework problems in that section. And again, you can see several videos in blue, several alternative videos in red. There's practice quizzes. Again, they're practice, so they don't, oh, and I deleted them, good, because I didn't like them. Sorry, I thought I deleted the whole thing. So nothing's in that folder. Don't worry about that. So 2A through 2F, there are a total of 56 homework problems. Okay, I'll just click on any of them just to give you guys a hint. Okay. Go back to Learning Module 2. In this section, you will also see your first 2 competency checks. Your competency checks, if you guys remember, is part of your overall grade. Okay, these are the ones, they're kind of like quizzes because they're a little longer than your homework assignment sometimes. And these are the ones that prepare you for your final exam. Let's check the due dates because I don't remember what I asked for already. So let's see, because I teach the mini classes. So let's go back to our schedule of due dates. I'm going to go to Learning Module 0 because I know I put them there. So I see that I have this due on Wednesday. So Friday, you have to complete Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Competency Check 1 and 2. Yes, so you have to show your work only for Section 2E. Okay, so I don't want to see your work for the whole chapter, just that one Section 2E. Okay. Yes, the competency checks, you guys can try those problems. Your homework and your competency checks, you can reattempt those questions as many times as you need to until you get them right, okay? And that is another reason I want you guys to keep track of your work. If you attempt, let's just say question 1, and you get it wrong, when you hit reattempt, you're going to get a similar problem, but it's probably not going to be the same exact problem. So you should write that problem down as well. And hopefully you'll start to see where you're going wrong. And if you can't, that's when you take a picture, send it to me as a PDF, and ask me a question about it. Okay, and then I can reply. You can say, I did this problem 3 times, Mrs. Washington. I just don't understand. And I'll make sure I answer back. Okay. I want to make sure I point out the refund deadline. If you guys do not want to be in this class anymore and you want all your money back and you don't plan on switching, right? A lot of people switch classes, so that's fine. But if you just want to drop math, period, which I don't advise you doing because usually you lose all your classes. But if you need to, make sure you talk to me. The 18th is the last day to drop to get all of your money back. Okay? So let me go back because I want to make sure I point something out to you guys. I'm going to go to Learning Module 2. And I'm going to go to 2E because that's the one you have to show your work for. Okay? As you can see, there's only 8 problems. So I'm asking you guys to show me work for 8 problems. And they're not very long problems. Take a look at them. Okay? They're pretty straightforward. Okay? So let's just say I got this wrong. Okay, no, right here. This is what I want to show you. See how it says message instructor about this question? Say you attempt it 5 times, and maybe you at the time can't send me a picture of what you're doing. You can email me this, and it'll actually send me a picture of the exact problem you're working on, and I can reply to you that way. Okay? So either one of those things. Take a picture of your work so I can see what you're doing, so I can help you, tell you what you need to do differently, or you can just email me this way and I'll just explain the whole thing. Okay? You guys have any questions so far? I just want to make sure I acknowledge a couple people. Samantha, thanks for joining us. Kevin and Jenny, you guys have been here for a while. Brittany, Avery, Ann, Amanda, and Abram. Thank you guys all for joining me today. Okay. So you guys really don't have any questions? Are you nervous? Nervous? Don't be nervous. It's okay. Don't be nervous. I'm here for you guys. I really enjoy helping my students. It is a challenge sometimes helping you guys online because I know time gets in the way and we wait till the last minute and then you're waiting for a reply from me. And that's why I really want you guys to jump on it right away and start asking me questions as soon as you have them so that I have time to reply to you. Okay. Don't worry about it. No need to feel dumb. Are we trying to submit the Syllabi quiz, honey? Is that what you're still looking for? Okay. So the Syllabi quiz, we're going to come here on the left-hand side where it says Learning Module 0. Start here. And what you want to do is right here where you see the Syllabi quiz. You see it? I'm going to actually click right there. You see how it kind of highlights when I hover over it? When you click on it, okay, it brings you to a place where it tells you about the assignment and you can actually browse your computer right here and select the file and submit it that way. And you'll hit open and then you'll hit submit and that's it. Okay? So you have to write it down on paper first and then either scan it or take a picture with it with the Cam Scanner app. Okay. As for what math classes are after this, this is MAT18. Here, I'm going to show you guys something. Let me go to Valencia's homepage. Okay. Move this out of the way. My internet's a little slow. Did you guys cook dinner yet? Me too. I can smell it in the kitchen. It's killing me. Come on, Valencia.edu. Let's go. But if I didn't cook it before this started, the kids would come in here and start yelling during the session, and I couldn't have that happen. Okay. At some point, it'll open up Valencia's homepage and we'll stop looking at all these stupid MSN things that I don't even look at anyway. Come on. You can do it. I don't know why it's not doing it. Okay, see, this is when I go to my Google Chrome. Here we go. All right. So I'm going to look at the class schedule because I want you guys to know what classes you should be trying to take next because that's what somebody asked me. And just so you guys know, I actually used to be the math coordinator on the Osceola campus. I recently resigned from my position as a full-time employee there because I just needed more time with my family. So now all I do is teach a couple classes as a part-timer. So I actually know quite a bit about financial aid, advising, what classes you need, who's the right person to talk to about what. I worked at Valencia as a full-time administrator for 9 years up until January. So please feel free to ask me questions because I definitely can point you in the right direction. Okay. So you guys right now are in this class, the MAT18. My advice to you, since you're in my class for the first 6 weeks, is to go ahead and register for one of these classes the second 6 weeks. Now, I know that they say they are both full, but this one right here that starts June 23rd, I can assure you they only have it listed as full because they don't want people to register for that one. They want them to register for the course that started today. Okay? So if you do want to be registered in this CRN right here, go ahead and email me your VID. I can get you registered as soon as possible, or you can head down to the math department. They can register you as well. Now what this does is these two classes is pretty much this class all together. Okay? The only thing is they do not offer this class online on the Osceola campus. They might offer it online in other campuses, but not on Osceola. So this 22 class and this 28 class actually take the same exact final exam. These are considered remedial classes, so you do not get credit as far as towards your degree. These classes do not transfer with you. But they do count as credit as far as financial aid goes. So if you need 12 credits to be full-time, it does count for that. As far as your GPA goes to keep your financial aid, it does count for that. The first math class that really gives you credit is this one here, which is MAT, Intermediate Algebra. This is actually an elective credit, and I actually do teach this class, but not online. You can see I have a face-to-face class that I'm teaching this summer. So this would be the first class that you would take that would be worth elective. And that's why I said if you take this one now and this one June 23rd, when fall comes, you guys can take this class and start getting real credits. A lot of people jump here too soon, and then they fail, and then it hurts their GPA, and then they lose their financial aid, and it's all drama. So if you're not comfortable with math, I definitely do recommend you staying back here until you feel comfortable, and then move on to this class. And then depending on your major, you'll move on to college algebra or statistics and so on. But again, that depends on what your major is. You guys have any other questions for me? Not right now? Okay. So I showed you that. These were the due dates. Make sure you guys print this so that you kind of know what you're working on each and every week. I want to point out that at the end, there isn't really a whole lot of work here to do other than to take your final and kind of make sure all your other stuff is done. So it looks like there's a whole bunch of stuff here, but really it's not. Chapter 8 is very short. I'd say the hardest chapters for most students is 3 and 4. 3 is a lot of decimals, 4 is a lot of fractions. Where do you plan on transferring to, Kevin? Okay, so if you transfer to UCF, Intermediate Algebra will transfer as elective, but the class you're in now and the class after it will not transfer at all. It'll be like it never happened because UCF doesn't accept, well, nobody accepts remedial. I actually started off in a remedial math class, believe it or not, and then went on to get my math degree. So, don't beat yourselves up, about not getting credits right away or anything like that. You do what you got to do. It does matter in a sense that you need to pass to get to the next one, right? And did you graduate from high school recently or a long time ago? 2011. So I think if you did all 4 years of high school in Florida, I do believe that you're allowed to start in intermediate algebra. But I will tell you that if math was not your thing, I wouldn't make that jump. But again, you know yourself better than me. I would definitely get some advising first. But intermediate algebra moves really fast. And if you're not good at graphing, solving equations, factoring, the quadratic formula, rational expressions, if any of that sounds foreign, inequalities, okay, yeah, then stay right where you are. And we can work up to that, okay? Like I said, I teach intermediate, so I don't teach the 28 right now, but I teach this one and I teach intermediate. So I can see you now, you'll go with someone else, and then I can see you again later. Well, math is a language, so it probably does sound like a different language. And believe it or not, I started understanding math more and more when I started teaching it. I realized that when I was in math, I just kind of would repeat the pattern. I don't think I ever really knew what I was doing until I started teaching it. And then all of a sudden I started understanding why I was doing what I was doing. But I'm going to go to 2E real quick because this is the assignment that you guys have to show me your work. And I just want to show you a couple hints. Do you guys have any tricks for, where's my little pen? Give me a second. My little pen, where'd it go? Do you guys know any tricks for remembering your signs? A lot of students ask me about this. So for instance, right here, this is a negative, right, times a positive. Hold on. I'm trying to get my pen to work. The pen doesn't like me right now. Okay. This is a negative times a positive, right? So there's this tic-tac-toe board. Now this only works for multiplication and division, okay? And so this is one of those things that you can jot down on your paper before you go take a test, because I didn't mention this earlier, but there are no calculators. No calculators. So do not practice your homework with a calculator, because when you go to take the midterm and the final, you will not have one, and I don't want you to struggle because you've been practicing with it the whole time. If you want to use it to check your work or something like that, that's different, okay? So, again, this only works with multiplication and division. And my pen doesn't like me. Okay, so what you would do is you would put P for positive right down the middle as if you were winning the tic-tac-toe game, okay? Let's see if I can make this other pen work a little better. And then you're going to put N in all the other spaces for negative. And what you can do is use it to help you with your signs. I'm going to change my color so you can see. So for instance, this is a negative times a positive. So I would say a negative, let me change back to my pen. A negative times a positive is a negative. So I know that this answer here would be negative 42, right? And it works any direction you go. So a negative times a negative is a positive. A negative times a negative is a positive. A positive times a negative is a negative. A negative times a positive is a negative. It does not matter which way you go. It always works. Did that make sense, guys? You like that, Jenny? Yeah, buddy. I got some tricks. Alright, so again, only with multiplication and division, okay? So I'm going to just clear my... So again, tic-tac-toe is something easy to remember too, right? Everybody can remember tic-tac-toe. And you always do the P's down the center or down the diagonal like a winner. Yeah, buddy, I know. I wish somebody would have taught me this when I was in school. No, I was banging my head against the wall. Okay, so let me go ahead and clear that. Okay, and let me see. So what about this one? Using the tic-tac-toe, a negative times a negative, what would it be? Positive. Very good. Very good. So I would just write 40. Boom, boom. Hit submit. Boom. So obviously I got the green. There's no need for me to reattempt. I would just go to the next one. Okay. What about this one? A positive divided by a negative. Is that going to be a positive or a negative? A positive divided by a negative. Very good. It's going to be a negative. Okay. Good job, guys. So, let me see. Adding and subtracting. I do want to talk about adding and subtracting a little bit because just like multiplication and division, sometimes we have trouble when it comes to adding and subtracting too. So the big thing here to remember, guys, is you really want to look at your signs. So for instance, is 5 positive or negative? Is 5 positive or negative? Positive. Very good. Now 11. What about 11? Is 11 positive or negative? Negative. Very good. So the rule here with adding, and again, this is only adding and subtracting. The tic-tac-toe board is only for multiplication and division. Okay? Because then that's pretty much how everything in math goes. There's add and subtract rules, and then there's multiply and divide rules. Okay? So here with add and subtract, the rule is when the signs are different, like you see here, you're going to subtract. So when you subtract 5 from 11, I'm going to get 6, and you always take the sign of the highest number, right? But let's say, for instance, I had negative 5 minus 11. In this case, was the 5 negative or positive? Negative. And was the 11 negative or positive? Negative. Now these signs are the same. So whenever the signs are the same, what you're really going to do is you're going to find the sum, which really means what? To add. So since these signs are the same, I'm going to add 11 and 5 and get 16. And since the signs were the same, we're going to keep the sign to get negative 16. So you have, when the signs are different, like this and this, you take the difference, which means to subtract. And then when you have problems when the signs are the same, you're going to take the sum, which means to add. Okay? That's the big deal in these two sections when it comes to adding and subtracting. And again, multiplication and division, you guys can go ahead and use the tic-tac-toe. Okay? Any other questions so far? Just wanted to give you guys some heads up other than the videos that you can use. Good to go? Well, good. I'm glad I cleared it up. Alright, so let me see. I also think that there's a couple order of operations problems at the end of this chapter that may give you a little trouble. So let me just look at some of those with you guys. Alright, here's a trick that a lot of students mistake, so I want to point it out. In this problem here where it says -2 squared, okay, there's a big difference between this and this. Anybody know what it is? Anybody remember or know? If you don't, that's okay. I'm just trying to see what you guys know. Okay, that's fine. Alright, so I'm going to start with this one. I'm going to change my color pen real quick. I'm going to start with this one here. So the -2 that's in the parentheses. Since the parentheses are there, right, and the exponent is on the outside, that means that I'm going to square everything inside. So I'm going to actually write -2 times -2, which ends up being a +4. And it's all because of the parentheses. The parentheses say keep this negative sign with the number and square them both. Okay? But this one, where there is no parentheses, really what I'm squaring here is just the number. So what happens here is I'm going to have -2 times 2. So here my answer is going to be a -4. So notice one of them gives you a -4 and one of them gives you a +4. All because he has parentheses and he does not. Any questions about that? Okay. So we're going to see that over and over again in bigger problems. So let me see if I can find an example of a big one. Okay. Let me go. So that's just like what we were. So right here, what would you write 3 times? What would you multiply 3 times in this problem here? Exactly, -3. Exactly like that. -3 times -3 times -3. What do you guys think the answer is going to be? Well, this negative and this negative definitely gives me a +9, but then I still have this -3 over here. So what's that going to give me? Yep, you got to do the whole thing, right? Very good. -27. Very, very, very good. -27. Okay, good job. Okay, I'm trying to find some of the longer ones. Okay, in this problem right here, you're going to do your order of operations. Say you do whatever in parentheses first, and it could be parentheses, it could be brackets. These are all grouping symbols. Then it's exponents, and then it's multiplication and division, and then we know it's addition and subtraction. So inside my parentheses, what answer are you guys going to get? What's 2 minus 7? What's 2 minus 7? -5. Very good. So then what you're going to have is 6 minus, because there's a minus right here, right? And then in the parentheses, I got -5. What do you think is going to happen next? Hold on. Lost my question box. Wait a minute. Lost you guys for a second. Oh, there it is. Sorry, my question box disappeared. I couldn't see what you guys were writing. Alright, so what do you think is going to happen right here? 6 minus a -5. What do you think happens right there? Not -11. Let's deal with the signs first. Let me change my color. So what happens here is this negative right here makes this negative a plus. So it's almost like they become plus. So it's really 6 plus 5. Yep. So I am going to get 11, but I'm going to get a positive 11. Yeah. Always simplify the signs as much as possible before you start dealing with the numbers. That's what I feel is always easiest. Let me see if I can find a bigger one, because I think as you go down, they get bigger. That was too easy. Alright, what about this one? So again, you want to work inside the parentheses first. So I have 2 minus 12, which is going to give me what? -10. Okay? Because my 2 is positive, my 12 is negative. Since the signs are different, I'm going to subtract. Okay? So when you subtract 2 and 12, you're going to get a -10 because you take the sign of the highest number, and 12 is bigger than 2, so I took that sign. And then this negative is still in the front here. So I'm just going to bring that down. And then what about 5 minus 9? Because I'm going to do that first too. What about 5 minus 9? What do you get there? A -4. So again, here's this minus sign. So I'm going to bring that down, and then I get the -4. So just like before, I want to simplify these signs first. This negative in the front of the 10 is going to make this negative a positive. So really that's positive 10. And then this negative, that makes that negative a positive. So really that's positive 4. So you can see my final answer here is going to be 14. Any questions about that? Okay. All right. So I think I gave you guys enough to get started. We've been online about an hour. It's going to take a while for my recording to upload to my YouTube so that everyone else can watch it. No, you're not wrong. You're good, Kevin. Don't you worry about it. So do you guys have any last minute questions you want to ask? If you don't think of it now, that's fine. You guys can text me. My number is in the welcome email. You can also email me, of course, whichever way works for you. And if there's nothing else, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. Okay, Kevin, go for it. What's the question? Thank you, Jenny. You have a good night, too. Oh, if you want to sign up for the next class, go ahead and email me your VID number and just tell me, can you please sign me up for the next class, and I'll send it to the math department for you. No problem. No problem. Good night, Abram. If you don't have any more questions, have a good night. Anyone else?